So I was in the United States Marine Corps from 1998 to 2002. Right around 2000, we were out in the field quite a bit. They were fooling around, and one of the guys had picked up a chunk of wood, and as he picked it up over his head, it snapped, and a chunk of that wood about the size of a baseball bat hit me across the left side of the face. Hardest I'd ever been hit. Seeing stars, thought I was going to pass out. I wake up the next morning, and I can't see at all out of my left eye. The pressure in my head feels like somebody's going at it with a jackhammer. I started to have extreme headaches to the point where they were debilitating. The trauma was on the inside, and back then, not knowing a whole lot about traumatic brain injuries, we used to call it shell shock back in Nam and whatnot, but they really didn't understand it yet. So I told them I wanted nothing to do with naval healthcare, nothing to do with military healthcare. And basically, they granted me medical leave, so I came back to Chicago and had the surgery here for the eye. That still didn't fix the issue. That corrected my vision somewhat, but the headaches were still there. The light sensitivity was still there. The not sleeping was still there. The attachment, even though it wasn't a combat-related injury, to a certain extent, I believe there was some PTSD there as well, because of the traumatic injury and what it did to me. So there was all of those residual things that were not being treated as a result of that injury that I sustained during a training accident. So to this day, I was still dealing with a lot of those issues. I am very much a person that needs a routine at this stage of the game. If I jump in the shower and I do something out of order, my whole day is shot. My concentration levels are that of a 3-year-old. It's made my life significantly more difficult than it needed to be. I had no idea that I had depression for years. And then moving on to the career that I'm in now, it's something you don't talk about, because things like this are signs of weakness, especially in this type of, combat community. After living with these for, almost 20 years, finally finding a place that may be able to help me was almost unbelievable. To find a place like Mind Eye is amazing. Because up until this point, I thought this was just my life, and it just the way it was. It's the way it's going to be. And I just had to suck it up and deal with it like I had for the last roughly 20 years. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like there was a light at the end of the tunnel that wasn't a train. Like there was some hope that I could be not what I had learned to be normal, but actually go back to being normal. And here I am.
When I first met Bill, he was a little hesitant and quite a bit of discomfort, lots of headaches, nightmares, anxiety, depression, lots of things going on. And today he was so carefree. And it's as if a weight has been lifted. He doesn't have headaches anymore that are much of a concern. He's just more calm. His demeanor is like a whole different person.
I was not prepared for what my first appointment entailed. They said it would be a few hours, and they weren't kidding. I was here for about 5.5 hours. The testing from, being able to read and comprehend, or they basically have you look at a stick with a ball on the end of it, then close your eyes and try and touch it. And you'd think that would be something simple, right? It's right where I left it. It would be, right there. And you go to touch it, and I'm off by like 6 inches, 8 inches. I'm like, well, how in the world does my vision and my audio have anything to do with one another? And they basically broke it down Marine style and explained it to me. And they said, right now, things in my head are not clicking the way they should be. The eyes and the ears should be working together along with the brain, and the eyes aren't working with the brain, the ears aren't working with the brain, and clearly they're not working together. And hey, I may not understand it. Let's face it, I'm a grunt Marine. I'm probably not going to understand something like this, but if it works, it works. I don't need to understand necessarily everything behind it to be able to tell you that when I started the testing and when I finished the testing, I was miles better than I was at the beginning. When I put the glasses on, within the first 48 hours, I had noticed that there was a change. I wasn't quite sure what it was, but I felt different. Over that 48 hours, I started to already notice that I was still getting the headaches, but they had gone from 7, 8, 9 as far as, the extreme on the scale, down to 2, 3, 4. All right, coincidence maybe. I had noticed that I started already sleeping better. Again, maybe could have put it off to fatigue from the testing. Don't know. But I started to feel different. Actually, it's been months since I've had a migraine. They went from being almost daily to now so rare that it's almost like I feel like something's wrong when I get one now. I never thought I'd feel that way again. I would twitch a lot when I slept. And occasionally I would, I didn't know this, I was told later by my wife. Not only would I twitch or like spasm in bed, almost as if I was fighting, occasionally I would yell out things in Arabic, or I would yell out basically orders, just, telling my Marines where to go and what to cover and this, that, and the other. Since I started the program, my twitching has subsided almost to the point where it's not noticeable. And as far as like nightmares or anything like that to where I've been yelling out, she said I haven't. So if you're having any of the issues that I've been having over the last almost 20 years, and you feel that this is your new normal, it's not. It doesn't have to be. What Mind Eye has done for me over the last few months has changed my life. It's changed my relationship with my wife, my kids, my coworkers, my friends. It's been better. And if you have the opportunity to come to Mind Eye, I don't know what you're waiting for. Because this new normal that you're used to sucks. It's not who you are. It's not who you were. And by coming to Mind Eye, I'm actually becoming the person that I was before the injury. There's nothing that I could say that should hold you back from trying this. Even if it's a last resort, like it was for me. I'm here. I'm getting better. So I would tell any veteran to please, it's better than a lot of the alternatives. We lose 22 vets a day. Some people just can't take dealing with what they're dealing with. They don't want it to be their new normal. There are options out there still. Don't do it. Come here. Try this first.
I would say to anyone suffering, please consider the Mind Eye, because we really appreciate everything you've done and all the sacrifices you've made. And a virtual hug to all the people in the military.